to sportingways.com. My name's Thomas Ridley. I'm joined by Peter South once again. We're going to start by looking back at the Premier League results from last weekend. So we'll go through each game one by one, starting with Stoke 3, Blackburn 1. Problems continue for Blackburn. Good win for Stoke to get them back on track. 3-1 Stoke. What do you think?
Yeah, Stoke needed that as much as Blackburn didn't need it. It was pretty much another damning indictment of Steve King's reign. They lost in the Carling Cup again during midweek. There's no future in that club, surely. You can't imagine it.
Bolton 0, Everton 2. Bolton struggled at home again. There was the one result against Stoke, which they picked up a good win, but other than that, they've lost every game at home, I think.
Yeah.
Everton have picked up a few more wins recently, won the last couple, I think. So, what do you think? Bolton 0, Everton 2.
Tell you what, with Everton, I think they've strung a couple of wins together. They're starting to move like table slowly, like under the radar. I think they're up to about 9th, is it now? Something like that. As for Bolton, they need to go into the Christmas period with something behind them, because for the new year, if they're down there, then they'll be in trouble.
Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. Expected result, even though Chelsea have been struggling recently, but a much needed win for the Spurs.
Certainly much needed win, and also importantly it was done in a bit of style. I mean, Wolves were the perfect opponent from that point, because they sat off, they didn't create much of a game, Chelsea got an early goal, and after that it was coasting, so it was exactly what they needed, yeah.
Manchester United 1, Newcastle 1. Again, Manchester United struggling to score goals, but Newcastle, excellent point, recovering from their defeat at City last weekend. What do you think of that game?
Yeah, I mean, it all hinged around the penalty decision, didn't it?
It
was a bad decision, and sure it got up Rio Ferdinand's nose, he looked particularly aggrieved by it, but Newcastle, they stuck at the task, they probably did just about
right their luck, but...
Yeah, exactly, but when you go to Old Trafford, there's not many teams that won't.
No. So, Norwich 2, Queen's Park Rangers 1. I was at the game as a Norwich fan. Fantastic win, not the most entertaining of games for a neutral or anything, which is probably why it was last the match of the day. But I think it's fantastic, 3 points for us, and QPR missed Joey Barton, I think. So, what do you think of that one?
It's like we said, going into your next game against Manchester City, it's important you've got all 3 points, especially against a newly promoted side, so that's a real big win.
Sunderland 1, Wigan 2. Steve Bruce, he's under massive pressure. There was massive boos at the end. A poor result against what have been a relatively poor Wigan side.
I wouldn't say it's been a very poor Wigan side, so where does that leave Sunderland? I mean, all credit to Wigan and Roberto Martins, they did really well. They kept on going, they got the late win, and they deserved it. And you could see the relief in their face, but for Sunderland, where'd you go after defeat against Wigan going into Christmas? They really need to turn it around. West
Brom 1, Tottenham 3. Another 3 points for Harry Rowe. That's men on the way to the title, isn't it?
Let's not get carried away just yet. It was nice to see us go 1 down and fight back. There wasn't any sort of panic, which was nice to see. It was nice to see another side of Spurs game rather than the pretty football. But I don't want to hear any more talk about the title, please. Let's leave it for now.
Arsenal 1, Fulham 1. Most people would expect Arsenal to win that one, given their recent form, but obviously they started in this one. What do you think?
They looked very tired in it. I think their exertions from midweek. I think Arsene Wenger came out afterwards and said, I'm going to have to rest Van Persie soon, which he did for the Carling Cup game, but I'm going to have to rest Theo Walker and Ramsey because they're getting too tired and nearing injury. So you can see they were feeling the effects of midweek. So hopefully they'll be able to. They should come a bit fresher this time.
Swansea 0, Aston Villa 0 on Sunday. Obviously this game was relatively insignificant really after the horrific news about Gary Speed, but credit to the players for putting on the spectacle and playing the game.
Well, I've never seen a more emotional football game in my life personally. It was absolutely heart-wrenching seeing those players, but as you say, the result, I almost saw the draw was...
Nil was about right, wasn't it?
It was all we wanted from that game. I think they just wanted it to be over, to be honest.
And then Liverpool 1, Manchester City 1, final game on Sunday. Entertaining game actually, lots of bit of controversy with Balotelli sending off, obviously his reaction afterwards, Mancini told him to go straight down the tunnel, but probably treating a fair result. I think Liverpool should have nicked it.
I think City in the first half were the better side. I think Liverpool were a better team in the second half. So I mean, on that balance, obviously a draw. Balotelli sending off was a little bit soft. The elbow for the second yellow didn't seem intentional to me. But yes, Liverpool looks a lot stronger in the second half, which bodes well for them against such a strong side like City.